Absolutely, yes. More efficient in every way. So any suggestions or comments that the public has, we're open and ready to accept them.
You heard it here. And also, there is a fraud hotline that Laura's office did not establish, but reestablished, actually. It had been there and then became dormant for a while. If you know of fraudulent activities ongoing, there's a number that you can call. We'll put that up right now. And your anonymity is protected?
That's right. That's right. It is completely confidential. This hotline is available 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can report any suspected fraud of city-related fraud to this hotline number, and we will investigate every report that comes in.
And is there a bounty attached to that if you discover something significant?
No.
No. Okay. Well, do it as a good citizen, though.
Right, but you know, I think it was a year ago when we first came here to revitalize our fraud hotline.
Yes.
And being the ethical person you are, I think you questioned whether, you know, are you serious about the fraud that you're talking about, these numbers? Because I think I was giving you some big numbers.
Yes.
And I'd like to come back to report to you a year later that we received 79 calls since I was on your show last year, and 59 of those calls had to do with city-related fraud, and 36 of those cases we have investigated and closed, and the others are pending at this time. So there is and
in appropriate cases, you would work with the city prosecutor's office or the DA's office if it warrants it.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. And so it is out there, and we would like to, you know, also encourage the public to be alert, to be aware if they suspect fraud against the city in any way, if it's equipment, supplies, kickbacks, any sort of dealings with contractors in the city, to be alert, to be aware, to call the fraud hotline, to call our office, and we'll investigate that fully.
So we want to run a tight ship and a clean ship.
That's right.
Now, one of your recommendations in your police audit was booting. It was, I think, with 6 or more unpaid tickets. You put the boot on, the clamp, and that could generate over $1 million.
Right, yes, exactly. And this has been a little bit controversial. There's been some that like it and some that don't, but I'm a big fan of it and a strong supporter, and it's for those people that have more than 5 unpaid parking tickets. There are $11.7 million outstanding. And
how much?
$11.7 million
of unpaid tickets.
Unpaid parking tickets with people with 5 or more.
5 or more.
Right. So with people with 4 or less, there's even more. So we're talking millions of
Well, by God, that could almost balance the budget if all those scofflaws with 5 or more than 5 step forward and paid their $12 million. That would have almost balanced the budget.
Right, absolutely. And there's a very low cost.
I say boot them.
And I do too. And it makes sense in these tough times, and there's low cost, upfront cost to boot. It's easy to do. We estimate that the city, if it only collects 10% of the $11.7 million, we're talking, you know, $1.2 million roughly,
bad.
Just for a very conservative estimate.
I have no sympathy for someone who has 5 unpaid tickets.
Right. They're serial offenders that haven't paid their parking tickets, and it's not fair for those of us who do pay our parking tickets. I got my first parking ticket yesterday, you know, in 4 years or whatever, so for those of us who do pay it on time, we need to make sure.
And you recommended moving, and the city manager has moved parking enforcement to Public Works from the police department.
Yes, he has. He moved it from the police department over to Public Works, which now Public Works is taking a look at this booting program to see what they think of it. They'll be coming back to the City Council next month with
And the clamps only cost, you said, about $500 each.
Right.
And you buy a dozen or so clamps, and the return on investment is huge.
It really is. It's a very easy program. We're recommending that they start at least a pilot program.
To me, it's a no-brainer, but what do I know?
Right. Well, we're advocating this and strongly supporting it, and we hope that the City Council decides to vote.
Very quickly, you also completed 2 audits of the Long Beach Museum of Art this past year.
Yes, that's right. One was their capital campaign, the money that they raised to do their expansion project. We audited the museum to ensure that they could pay the $3 million bond that's coming due to the city, and our audit found that they don't have, that's right. They don't have the money to pay it. They don't have a plan to do it. The bottom line of that audit is we recommend that the city management, work with the foundation, museum, to come up with a plan on how this money will be
And that's
paid.
ongoing right now.
Yeah.
There's no easy solution for $3 million.
No, that's right. But, we can't, in these tough times, we can't be leaving money on the table that's owed to the city. And so we did this audit now because the time is coming where this bond will be coming due and the money needs to be there.
And very quickly, you did a inventory audit where a bunch of works were, as they say in the trade, unobserved, non-observed. That means missing, stolen, can't find it, or never were there, or what?
Right, that's right. There were a number of missing pieces, you say. I'll just put it out there that they were missing, but we're working with the department heads to find those pieces. And overall, the bottom line recommendation on that audit was they need to perform more regular inventory so we can protect, safeguard the city's assets.
And in fairness, some of those had not been observed for many, many years.
Right, that's right.
Okay, we have to take a break. We'll be back with more Straight Talk after these messages. We're back, continuing our conversation with our city auditor, Laura Doud. The country is in the midst of this financial meltdown, and probably never has the man in the street been more concerned with and realizing the importance of accurate numbers and accountability and transparency and all. And you do an annual financial audit here in the city.
That's right. The charter mandates that the city auditor's office perform an annual financial audit, and the city has contracted with KPMG for the past 20 years to perform that audit for us. We oversee that audit and work with them on this, but it's a huge audit, and a team of professionals come in and look through all the city's books and records to verify the accuracy of the city's financial.
And you also do quarterly audits.
That's right, quarterly cash audits to verify the city's cash and investments and that they're in compliance with the government code.
And you told me before we went on air that every check that is written by the city to a vendor or for anything passes through your office?
That's right. Every check before it's sent out to the vendor, we audit every check, and you can imagine the volume of checks that come through our office, but we look at each one and ensure that they're accurate, and so it's a big job on a daily basis.
Looking to the future, you're doing an audit of the Queen Mary and Save the Queen.
Yes, that's always on our radar, as the city is establishing a new lease right now with Save the Queen, and there's an agreement that Save the Queen is to make certain capital improvements on the Queen Mary. So at the end of this year, we'll be auditing those expenditures to ensure that they did what they said they would do.
Excellent. And finally, the $64 question of who audits the auditor, you have an answer.
That's right. There is always that question out there: is who does audit the auditors? And the generally accepted government auditing standards requires that every audit organization undergo a peer review or an audit where peers or auditors throughout the country, an independent team, will come in and look at our office to undergo this peer review. This is the first peer review that this Long Beach City Auditor's Office will have ever had.
Well, amen to that. I certainly publicly applaud your doing that.
Thank you. And this team of auditors will be coming in to ensure that our office is in compliance with the standards set for government industry. So we've been working really hard to work by the book to make sure that all of our audits are in compliance with the standards. And so far, from my review, they are. We're very confident we're going to pass this peer review, but we're working hard to prepare for that, and that's one of the audits that will take place next year.
Well, as you know, I teach ethics as well as law at Long Beach State, and one of the core ethical principles is transparency and accountability. So
yes,
you and your office are truly walking the walk.
Thank you. That's what our office is all about accountability, transparency, collecting revenue due to the city, finding efficiencies, preventing fraud, waste, and abuse. It's a great job. The founders and the authors of the charter back in 1908, as we go back to celebrate this 100-year anniversary, they truly had it right when they set up the charter that the auditor would be elected.
Yeah.
because it provides that independence and that objectivity that you can have by looking
You
at the
report
books.
to the people.
That's right.
Not to the city manager, not to the mayor, but to the people.
Right. We do report to the people, and
And you take advantage of that by coming each year to Straight Talk, which we appreciate very much.
thank you, and I appreciate you having us.
Okay, we'll be back with the remaining portions of the show after these messages.